week 5 of the Holiday Fitness Challenge. I hope you all had a fantastic Merry Christmas and Santa Claus brought you everything that you wanted, and that he did not bring you a few unwanted pounds. That would not be good. But even if he did, that's okay. You can navigate through that. And I'm here to help you do that. So I want to talk today about a few things, one of them being what I call the importance of why. Why is a very powerful word in fitness, and there's different meanings for it behind it. Your why, finding the reason that you're doing this can sustain you when it gets difficult, can get you back on track when you've gotten off track, can get you started from nothing and nowhere. And so you want to be in touch with that. And your why may change. It's going to be more clear at times than others, but it's going to stem from an understanding of something I've talked about before, understanding how important you are and understanding how important fitness is. That has to be your foundation. That's going to pull you through when all the other reasons seem to fade and all the distractions come out and all the difficulties are there and all the challenges and all the obstacles. Go back to your why. Go back to your foundation of you being important, of this being important, fitness being important, and all the good things that it can do for you. And when it comes to fitness, we can have different goals depending on where we are in the game. We can be wanting to look the best we've ever looked. We can try to recapture something. We can have a weight loss goal. We can have a strength goal. We can have an appearance goal. We can have a sports competition goal. We should also have a health goal and a mobility goal and a longevity goal, and those things matter too. But whatever your personal why is, stay in touch with that. Get in touch with that again. Always keep it in the forefront of your mind and use it to pull you through those times, push you forward, and drive you to be successful. One of the things I talk about is what I call the vanishing point. And this is a term I use where you can get to a point in your life, in your fitness, where you cannot physically do the things that your body needs for you to do to stay fit and stay healthy. And so if you ignore your fitness for long enough in terms of how you're eating, how you are or are not taking care of yourself, how you are or are not exercising, your body can get to the point of diminishing returns. And the things that you need to do to get it going back in the right direction, you're no longer able to do. And this happens to us when we get older, and there's some inevitability to it, but we can push that off for a long time, possibly forever, depending on our circumstances, if we're mindful of it and if we know what we're doing. But it can also come on us at an early age. And that's why I can relate to it, because just playing sports, you can get into a situation where you can go from being able to do quite a lot to having some kind of injury or an illness, and you can't do anything anymore. And so that gave me a great insight of what that felt like when I go from, back when I was playing basketball and baseball, and you go from being able to do all these different things on the field or on the court, and then, I had hamstring injuries, I had ankle injuries, you had things where you just can't do anything. You go from one day you can do all these things, and the next day you can't. You're hobbling around and you're struggling to get across the room or get up out of a chair or whatever the case may be. And so it was a preview for me of what this could be like at any time, you know, that could be out of your control. With fitness, it's a little different because something like a vanishing point comes over a period of time, and our body can deteriorate if we don't take care of it. And we see that happen with an older population. I saw that happen with my dad, and I'm sure you've seen that happen with some people in your age group or our age group above you or your parents or whatever the case may be. And as I've gotten older now, I'm 66, I've seen that happen with people in my age group and even younger, where they reach a vanishing point years, if not decades, before they should have, and they're effectively trapped in their bodies and they can't do anything. And it's sad to see because so much of that could have been avoided just by them taking care of themselves. So that's a very strong why to not reach or delay or put off reaching a vanishing point and getting to a point where you literally can't do the things that you want to do, and you're not able to start up again to get yourself back on in the right direction. And there have been people that have been in wheelchairs go on a fitness program and be able to get out of those wheelchairs. There are people that have been on walkers, go on a fitness program and be able to get out of those walkers. So there's people that have been able to make those comebacks, but it gets harder and harder and harder to do. It is so much easier to maintain your physical ability and push back that vanishing point coming to ever to reach you than it is to wait till it gets here and then try to correct it. And nutrition can be a huge part of that. If you eat badly enough and you eat, and the way our diets are set up in terms of generally speaking in society with so much highly processed food that's void of nutrients, that vanishing point comes a lot quicker because people have so many medical issues. That's why diabetes is so high. That's why blood pressure is so high. That's why inflammation is so high, and the aches and pains that people have, and their energy is so low. And so it gets more and more difficult and challenging for them to adopt fitness and to start or continue a workout program or exercise program. So it's not the most glamorous thing that we think about in terms of fitness, but it's one of those things that matter. And our bodies will remind us every once in a while if you go through a bad period of eating. And the holidays can be a reminder of that. If you have some days where you took off that you didn't normally take off, or you had some foods that you eat and that you normally don't eat, and you're feeling tired, or you're feeling bloated, or you're feeling achy, or you're feeling lethargic and groggy, and all these different things, that's a preview of how this can be if you don't turn that back around. Fortunately for most of us here, we are focusing on fitness and we do have a sense of why. So those are temporary things. And we're not going to allow that to continue, and we're going to go back in another direction. But use that as a reminder of how powerful being fit and healthy can be, and how miserable it can feel if you lose that. It's something that you don't want to lose. And so use that as a reminder and use that as an encouragement. And yes, it's not the most glamorous thing. It's not the thing that most of us think about in terms of our initial why when we see, an athlete that looks the way we want to look or can do something that we want to do, or we see a picture on a fitness magazine of a certain fitness model that, yeah, I want to look like her, or I want to look like him, or I want to bench this or lift that or make that team or whatever. That's usually not that first attraction in terms of our initial why, but let that one add that one to your tool chest. Have that one reserved in your mind and in your heart, understanding that it may not be the reason you start, but it's going to be very important as you continue. So that's a big why. Avoiding that vanishing point, avoiding getting to getting to a point where you can't do the things you need to do to get to the best version of yourself. And yeah, you think, well, there's always something we could try to do. We can always eat better. We can always, just to do some movement. But trust me when I tell you, I've seen it, that it just gets to the point where you can get trapped in your body just from the standpoint and the reason of just being unfit and unhealthy for long enough. So keep that in mind. Keep that as one of your whys and one of your reasons to keep doing what you're doing, and prioritize yourself and prioritize health and prioritize fitness and how important it is, and understanding that, yeah, it's giving you some positive things that you want. At the same time, you're trying to avoid some negative things. So that's one part of a why, having a reason why you're doing that. You're important enough to do it. Your health is important enough to do it for, and you want to avoid that vanishing point. Another part of the why is, why did this not happen before? Why did the diets I was on before fail? Why did my exercise program fail? Why wasn't I able to stay on it? Why didn't I get the success? Why didn't I lose that 20 pounds? Or why, when I lost that 20 pounds or 30 pounds, I wasn't able to keep it off? That's an important why to also ask yourself. Usually there's a reason for it. And the reason for most people is that we go about it in the wrong way. We tend to put our bodies on a kamikaze mission and do things with them and almost to them that are just not sustainable. So we force our bodies to get into shape with practices that aren't necessarily the healthiest thing for our bodies. We virtually starve them of calories and nutrients in terms of some of the diets that people go on, overwork and overtrain them in terms of fitness programs that are overly ambitious. And it's kind of like trying to sprint a marathon or run a distance race at a pace that's just not sustainable. You're going to crash and burn. And a lot of times when I see people fail on a fitness program and not understand why I didn't make it. I didn't have enough willpower. I wasn't committed enough. Or no, it's just they were on the wrong program. They're on a program that never had a chance of any long-term success. And so when you go on a program, especially if you've had some problems before and transformation problems before in terms of reaching it or staying there, look at what you're doing and make sure that it is something that's sustainable. It is something that you can continue. It's not something that's going to deplete you of your nutrients so much that you're now robbed of energy and robbed of all motivation and robbed of all enthusiasm and robbed of all belief and hope and energy that you can do this and you can sustain this. It's just, you just can't keep an unrealistic pace. And that's the biggest reason why I've seen people and programs fail because they just weren't the right program for someone to be on, in the first place. And unfortunately, and I've seen this in the fitness industry, the competition fitness industry, there are trainers and coaches and advisors who will put you on these unsustainable, unrealistic programs, knowing that it's going to fail you. And you say, why would they do that? Well, there's one famous bodybuilding coach, and he puts some of his clients on some of the most extreme programs they could be on to force their body into shape for a show. And it will quote unquote work on the front end as far as they'll get that weight loss, they'll look a certain way, and they'll do fine in competition. But then once it's over, that pendulum swings back in the other direction really, really hard. And it's more difficult trying to get it back turned around the second time because now the metabolism has been affected, the enthusiasm has been affected. You've basically climbed up that mountain and slid back down. Now you got to climb up it again, and it's harder. And he was asked point blank, "Why do you put people on programs like this and you know they're going to like fall off again and be back to zero?" And he replied, and he didn't know the person he told this to was going to tell me. So he replied, "Well, that way they're going to always need me," and that's so irresponsible and selfish to do to someone. You don't want people to always need you. You want to help them as much as you can and give them the information that they can graduate from what you're doing and go forward. And you shouldn't feel like you need to keep anyone dependent. I don't want you to be dependent on me. I want you to keep learning, keep growing. I've been doing this for so many decades. I'm not going to run out of things to tell you if you're interested in knowing more and more and more. And I'm not going to run out of things to learn in this interesting industry because I'm going to continue to learn more and more and more. So I don't need to just minimize the information that I give you. Anyone that's good doesn't need to minimize the information that we give you. We're trying to give you the best information. So there's no reason to be selfish. There's no reason to put you on a program that's going to work short term and make you look good short term, make us look good short term, and then all of a sudden, boom, oh, I need you again because I lost it, or I can't do it without you, or now I'm lost and now it's not working again. What else can I do? What else can you tell me? Because it's about being healthy. It's about staying there. It's about feeling good while you're there. It's about not just looking good, but also feeling good and living longer, healthier, and stronger, and all those different things. And I don't need you or that one client to always need me because if they do well, they're gonna like other people are going to see them and say, "Oh yeah, my coach helped me, or my trainer helped me, or my training partner helped me." So it's always going to reflect back on you if you do something positive for someone else. You don't have to just give them a little bit of information and try to keep them dependent. But that just goes to show you how some of the bad information still exists out there because people either don't know better information or they don't care about long-term results. They just want to get results that makes them look good and makes you look good temporarily, and then they don't care after that because you'll come back to them. And that's why certain programs, you know, like some of the commercial weight loss programs, the rate of people gaining weight back is over 50%. So you go on this special famous weight program and with your check-ins and your weigh-ins and this and that, whatever. And don't get me wrong, we need support, we need help, and some of those things can be good, but they consider it successful if someone just loses and then gains it back later on. I don't really consider that successful. Because the person that's not what their goal was. Their goal wasn't, my goal is to come in and lose 30 pounds and then gain it all back. I've never had anyone have that goal. My goal is to come in and get to a certain level athletically and then like just not be there anymore. That, my goal is to get to a certain level of health and fitness and feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And then all of a sudden go back to being miserable and without energy and I can't work out anymore. So those programs that are extreme that people go on that are bad programs initially, those are not going to help you. And that's why they didn't work. They were not designed to be sustainable. They were not designed to be a long-term program. So you have to understand that. And when you pick a program or when you go on an exercise program or work weight loss program or nutrition program, understand the sustainability of it. Understand that you're trying to change your lifestyle in a better direction. And speed is not always your friend. Fastest isn't always the best thing for you. Your body can only change so fast. You can only lose body fat so fast. And if you try to push faster, harder than your body's able to do, it will give you results from a number standpoint, but not from an actual standpoint. So it doesn't help me to go from eating 2,500 calories a day down to 500 calories a day and doing 8 to 10 hours of cardio a day, and then try to do that because I want to lose weight faster as fast as possible. You're going to lose weight faster, but you're not going to be able to maintain that program. It's going to really affect you negatively from a health standpoint as well as from a fitness standpoint. And you're going to be miserable. You're going to look miserable. You're going to feel miserable. You're not going to be able to sustain it. Your energy is going to be horrible. And after you get to the end of it and stop, and it will stop, your body's going to swing back in the other direction because you did not lose body fat any faster. You lost body fat as fast as you could, then you lost more muscle and you lost more water and you lost your metabolism started, dipping on you. And so all those things we're just setting up that slingshot to fire back the other way. And this happens when we get towards the first of the year. I've seen it so many times. You've seen it so many times. Maybe you've experienced it so many times. And that's why I'm talking about it. That's why I'm mentioning the why didn't this program work before? Why wasn't I able to stay on it? I was so fired up. I had all these resolutions. I had all these goals. And this time it's going to be different. You join that gym, you got people to train with you, you got your diet made out, you got your fitness program made out, and you're ready to go. And all of a sudden you start getting into it, and even if you get some success, yeah, great. I lost 3 pounds that first week, 4 pounds that second week. Here we go. It's going to be better and better and better. And then you fast forward, you get to the point where, man, I haven't worked out all week, or wow, I stopped eating the way I was supposed to be eating, or wow, I feel miserable. So I can't stand this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. 9 times out of 10, you're on the wrong program. 9 times out of 10, your diet was either overly strict or too depleted in nutrients, or your training program was too ambitious and too extreme, and you're just set up for failure. So you need to understand that. You need to look at what you're doing. And last time I talked about making certain changes and adjustments and how to go about that. But you need to be able to do that. You need to understand that from a why standpoint of why things did not work before. And it's so common and it's so frustrating at the same time. And it's so avoidable at the same time. And we don't recognize it when we're in it, and we it's self-defeating. So do what you need to do. Make the changes in what you're initially doing that are going to allow you to move in the direction you want to go. You don't have to go from doing nothing to doing everything from a training standpoint. You don't have to go from eating not so great to eating perfectly from a nutrition standpoint. You just have to make enough changes to move in the right direction. And it's better to do something that's sustainable and that you can stay positive about and still tweak and improve than it is to do something that's unsustainable or that you can't stay with or commit to from a time standpoint, from a energy standpoint, from a feel good about yourself and about what you're doing standpoint. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you're starting on a fitness program and you've been away for a while. And so you decide, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. And that lasts for 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden you're working, you're down to four, and then you're down to three, then you're down to two. And now you're feeling bad about yourself. Now you're feeling like you let yourself down. Now you're feeling like you're failing again. Now you're feeling like, oh, I got to step it up again. You're punishing yourself emotionally because you weren't able to stay with that 5 days a week. The truth of it is, you never should have been on 5 days a week, in the first place, just coming back or just at the level you were. And if you started on just 3 days a week, you would have been able to sustain that better in terms of the time that you now allotted for yourself, in terms of the energy that you have available, and you would have gotten the results that you needed to get and still been able to maintain that result. By starting off on 5 days, on too many days, it's like you feel you lost something. It's like if I give you $10, you'll be like, "Oh, gee, thanks for the $10." You feel like you got $10 now, and you feel like there's a positive. If I give you $20 and you say, "Okay, great, I got $20," and then all of a sudden the next day, you know what? I messed up. I need to get $10 of those 10 of those dollars back, and so now I take 10 back, and now you still have $10. Well, you still have the same $10, but you feel like you lost something. You feel like something that, so wait a minute, I had more, now I have less. You feel like something is wrong. And that's the same thing that happens sometimes with fitness. People start off on a program that's just so ambitious out the gate that's just not sustainable. And of course, they back off of it predictably. And now they feel like they failed when they didn't really fail. They're just probably going down to where they should have started from. And if they stay with that, they'll be fine. But most of the time, because now it's a negative, they don't stay with that. And the same thing happens nutritionally. They start eating so strictly, so perfectly, and all of a sudden they have that one or two bad meals or bad days, and now, oh, I blew everything. And now I got to go, I can't do it anymore. I might as well eat this now. I might as well eat that now. I might as well continue this way. And I've seen that happen so many times. And that's one of the things that happens this time. That's why I wanted this holiday fitness challenge, because this time of year, that's so easy for people to go and have that big meal or that those extra desserts, or they're traveling, they miss some of those workouts, and that's fine as long as they come back and get back to the best they can do or what their normal schedule was or whatever. What happens too many times is people just keep going. Oh, I missed this one. I might as well miss the next one. And now I don't feel like it. And now I'm behind, or my schedule's off, or oh, I ate these things. Oh, I blew it now. I might as well eat that. Or who cares? Or I can't do it. Or they start the self negative talk starts, and the limiting beliefs start kicking back in. And they s if they're not having a strong enough why and a belief in themselves and that they can and will be successful and that they are important enough to put the time, effort, and energy into, and that fitness is important enough for them to put the time, effort, energy into, then those doubts take over, those negative beliefs take over, those habits take over, because now they don't feel like they've earned it. Now they don't feel like they're they should be rewarded for this. And there's this almost strange thing in fitness that I've seen more times than I can count, where people seem to think or feel that they need to suffer to earn their fitness goals. And I see this for athletes, I see this for physique competitors, I see this for housewives just trying to lose weight or businessmen just trying to lose weight. It's like if I don't suffer enough, if I don't give it like this out of body experience and I didn't earn it, I don't deserve it, I'm not worthy of it, and therefore it's not going to happen. And so some of the people that don't succeed in making their meeting their fitness goals, it's not like they aren't dedicated. They're some of the most dedicated. They're just perfectionists. They're overachievers. And they have this false belief that if I can't do it this certain way, if I can't do it this 5, 6 days a week and eat this Spartan diet, then I didn't deserve it. So therefore, since I didn't stay with this program, I might as well give up. It's just too all or nothing for them. And that's just not how the body works. That's just not how fitness works in terms of a health biology, physiology standpoint. You just need to do enough things to get yourself going in the right direction and sustain those things and tweak those things and change and modify them as your body continues to adapt. So don't think that you're a failure because you didn't stay on a program, even if it's a right program. The life happens sometimes. And for many people, it takes a while. It can take a while till this gets to be second nature for you, till this gets to be a habit for you. So initially, you need to stay committed to your program, yes, and make an appointment with yourself of how you're going to eat and how you're going to train. And that's back to prioritizing your self and prioritizing your goals and committing to those things. And it's just like going to work or going to school or whatever the case may be. You're going to train 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then you put that down, and that's what you do, no matter what. And you're making sure that happens. You're going to eat X number of meals. It's going to have so much protein. It's going to have. You're going to limit these things and have these things, and give yourself that time frame to see what your body's doing, and then adjust from there. Then you make that deal with yourself, and you honor yourself, and you follow through with that. You just don't make it overly ambitious so that it's unsustainable and unrealistic. But you make a good faith program that's you can stay with that's going to help you, and then you commit to it to give yourself a chance to get that positive feedback, and that's going to fuel you. A lot of times for people, the hardest part is starting again. The hardest part is getting back out there. And this happens this time of year so much, like as we go into past New Year's and into the 26 here. It's getting back into the flow of it, and so you don't wanna make it so that it's so difficult from a scheduling standpoint, from an energy standpoint, from a drive motivational standpoint that you can't do it. But there's going to be some growing pains, and you have to go through that a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable. It's gonna be a change. It's gonna be a challenge for you. You have to believe again how important it is and how important you are and that you can do it so that you go do it and you do it long enough so that you start getting the feedback and you start getting the belief of I can do this. This is working. I am seeing results. And once you get that, it gets easier to do. You believe you can do it because now you've just done it and you start to see those positive results, you start to feel those positive results, you're getting in better shape. You're not as tired as you were on the treadmill, at after 20 minutes as you were before. You're not as sore and achy the next morning. You're not as drained of energy. You're not as feeling lost in the gym or in terms of your program as you used to. And now you start to get that momentum. And now it starts to get to be a habit for you. And now it starts to become part of your lifestyle. You get to that point where it's part of your lifestyle, you're always going to do it. You're always going to come back to it. You're always going to find the reasons and the whys within yourself of, oh, that's right. I got to reconnect with this. That's right. I got this out of that. I've done this before. I've taken these steps before. I made these changes before. It felt better. I felt better about myself. My body felt better. I was more capable, more functional, stronger, had more energy, had more endurance. All the positive things that you can get from this that If you've had it before, remind yourself of those things. The tough thing is if you've never had them before and you've never felt that, if you don't know what it's like to not feel tired, if you don't know what it's like to not be achy, if you don't know what it's like to not, be on medications, to not be unmotivated and undisciplined. So you have to go through the fire a little bit to get to the other side to know that you can sustain those things, that you know how valuable they are and how good that feels and how important it is to keep those things for yourself. And so there can be some challenges, but that's what you do. You make sure that you give yourself that kind of prioritization so that you can get to that point, and then it becomes easier, and you get to the point where I am. I don't I can negotiate with a workout in terms of, well, if I can't do this one, I know I'm going to pick it up later on when I need to. I know I'm going to make time for it. I know I'm going to, do it. Like if I post a train tonight and I can't, I know I'll do it, the next day. I'll know I'll do it on the off day or whatever. I don't have to worry about missing it. That's never going to happen. But it took years and years and years to get to that point. And at first, it's so much easier and better in terms of being successful to mark it down, stay with it, put it on paper, and make that commitment to yourself and to your goals to keep going with it and let it get to the point where it's a part of you and let it get to the point where you don't have to worry about ever missing it. You don't have to worry about falling off the horse. And people fall off the horse typically often in fitness, and that's okay. Just get back on the horse, but understand that that's a part of it. Make sure you come back to it and make sure that you understand that in order to be successful, you're going to have to make some kind of change. You cannot continue to do the same things that you've done before and expect a different result. You're going to have to change something about your training, something about your diet, something about your lifestyle, something about your prioritization of your goals, and allow those changes to be positive ones that you control. You just don't have to change everything. You just don't have to do everything. You just don't have to make yourself miserable or punish yourself to get to the point where you're being fit. Fitness should not be a punishment. It's an extension of health. It has to be in a base of health. And again, if you don't do things to stay fit and stay healthy, your health can deteriorate negatively to the point where you don't have the ability to get fit again. You don't have the ability to maintain your health because it's spiraling down too fast. So, doing things for fitness is going to enhance your health foundation and then allow you to go beyond that to a place where it's even better and you have even more options than you ever had before. And that's the part where when you get to that, where I am, you want to teach and preach that to other people and you want to help people get there. And there's a lot of you here that know that and know the power in that. And that comes back to you because then you just refire yourself up as far as whether you're working with someone that's an advanced person or you're working with someone that's completely new to this. I get energy from working with other people, whether they're a beginner or whether they're a professional. And that's something that you get out of that. And so those that part of that why, understanding that, that's why you can be successful. Understanding that you start with a program that is sustainable and that you can stay on and that is going to help you and slowly build you, as opposed to why you're not successful being on a program that is not sustainable, that is not healthy for you, that's going to crash and burn, that's like sprinting that marathon, that's just going to allow you to find all the bad things about fitness before you find the good things about fitness. And the final thing I want to talk about going into New Year's is because it's a common thing for people is alcohol. And full disclosure, I don't drink alcohol. That's just a personal choice. You can drink alcohol and still live a fitness lifestyle and still live a successful fitness lifestyle. But there's some things about alcohol in terms of it can be a problem for you and an obstacle for you if there's too much of it. The reason is it's higher in calories than, say, protein and carbs is, as far as how many calories per gram, whereas a gram of protein has 4, a gram of carbs has 4, a gram of alcohol has 7, which is close to fat, which has 9. So just the alcohol itself calorically, it raises your calories very quickly. And if you notice, it's a lot easier to drink calories than it is to eat calories. And without having that fiber, there's a lot less thermic effect in terms of your body having to utilize energy to digest those calories. It's just very easy to absorb. And also, our bodies don't really know how to process alcohol, and it's like it's a little bit of a shock to the system. So it shuts down our normal digestive processes for the food to prioritize on getting that alcohol level back down and getting it under control. So it slows down your normal digestive processes, at the same time adds calories faster than you normally would get them. And most drinks, in terms of alcohol, they're not just alcohol. Alcohol is basically a poison, so we have other things with them. So they're made to taste good. So there's added sugars and sweeteners and other calories in that drink to make it taste good. So now it's even higher in calories than it normally was. And it's not just alcohol that can add those calories. You can I remember going to Starbucks, they had this little chocolate drink that was seasonal, like a little hot chocolate. And I saw y'all have one of those. That's cool. I don't really drink that much coffee, so I was there with my sister and I tried that and it was very good. And then I looked at it, it's like that's 400 calories in like a little glass, like 400 calories. That could be like a nice little meal as opposed to something like boom, that's gone real quick. Well, with alcohol, it could be the same way, the 400 calories that you just added to yourself, but also now the effect of your body's got this alcohol in your system and it doesn't know what to do with it. And so it's so stop everything else. Let's get rid of this alcohol and get it down to the level it needs to get to. And then we'll start burning calories again. So it can really affect your metabolism in terms of your fat burning metabolism. So you have to be aware of that. And so what I use as a visual is I say, think of it as alcoholic drinks as like a liquid donut. And how many donuts could you have before it starts to affect your fitness program? And so alcohol is like that. So if you're looking at your program, you're looking at your nights out, you're looking at what you're normally doing, how many of these are you having before it's going to affect you? One, two, three, four. And it could be not necessarily in a day, it could be throughout the week or whatever. So when you have a special holiday event and you're going to have some drinks or whatever, usually that's going to manage itself because you're going to feel the effects of that. So you're already aware of how much you're having and how it's affecting you. And people don't tend to go overboard that often. And if you do, your body's going to tell you later on or the next day, and you're like, well, I'm not doing that again. I've seen people miserable the next day, and I'm like amused. I don't know what that feels like, but I can see I don't want to feel it. And so there's a little bit of a built-in security system with that. What gets to be the problem is just the seasonal part of, oh, there's more wine, oh, there's more champagne, oh, there's this, oh, there's that. And it's throughout the week in terms of you're just having more of it than you normally were. So that's when I talk about tracking. And when we're at any point in our fitness program, sometimes the best thing to do is get back to that initial tracking and writing down everything you're eating and drinking along with the times and taking a look at it again. So this is a week to do that. It's a few days before New Year's and then New Year's going to kick in and a few days after that. Just see it to be aware of it so that you can understand what it is or is not doing to your body and then see if you need to make any changes. And your body's going to tell you. I always say, and it's one of my favorite sayings, the body is in charge. It will tell you. We just have to decide whether or not we want to listen. So if the scale's up and you're looking at your sheet of your food log and you see, okay, I had these drinks that I don't normally have, you know why. If you're staying the same and you've had these drinks, okay, then fine, you can get away with it, or you can. And some people can get away with more than other people can. Jimmy can get away with things that John can't. Susie can get away with things that Kathy can't. So you have to play the hand that you're dealt, be honest with yourself, but know what you're doing and have that information that you can make adjustments by. So those are some of the things I wanted to give you from a tip standpoint. The day after Christmas, going into New Year's, be safe. You can still have fun, but understand that fitness is not a punishment. It's something that you want to be able to have as a lifestyle and something that you need to be able to sustain. So don't try to punish yourself with it. Don't be overly ambitious. Have a program that you can and should and want to be on in terms of your eating program, in terms of your exercise program, that's going to make you feel better and put you in the right direction. Yes, there are going to be some challenging times to that, and especially when you first start. But get through that, and then it's going to give you back more things than it's going to cost you, and it's going to be quite rewarding. So I hope this helps you. I'll be back next week with week 6 and try to tie some of the stuff in to really get you set up for a long-term fitness success and get on the right direction. If you have any questions, message me, put them in the comments. Be happy to answer them, but stay positive, stay focused on how important you are, how important fitness is, all the things that you can do, understanding your why. You don't want to reach that vanishing point, understanding that there's a pace that you need to go at, and going beyond that isn't going to make you progress faster in the long run. It's going to cause you to slide backwards and be more frustrated. So understand those things and believe in you, believe in your success, and you're going to make it.